Hey guys, Morel McCurry here. I am here with Victor Megan. He is the owner of Network Brainiacs out of New Jersey. Victor is joining me today. We're going to talk a little bit about cybersecurity and, how it affects small business, right?
Absolutely. The one thing, Moreau, that people sometimes don't realize is that, or the misperception is that they think that they're too small, that they're not a target.
Always. We get that all the time. Why would they come after me?
All the time. But I will tell you that the majority of the people that are targeted are usually small businesses.
Right. I mean, we had the pipeline hack, right? I turned on the news a couple of days ago. They were talking about some meat plant that got hacked. And this is all like cybersecurity stuff that could have been prevented.
Right.
I mean, gas shortages could have been prevented.
I think
could have been prevented.
Yeah, I think what the problem is, right? What we see on the news and the media is the large companies that get hit, right?
Right.
The amount of millions of consumers' information that's leaked, the large corporations, but they don't really talk about the small, medium-sized businesses.
Right.
Where if you're a small business, and you get hit with ransomware, that could be the end of the business.
Oh yeah, it really could put somebody out of business. I mean, one incident, one false click, one anything can put somebody straight out of business if they're a small entity, 20 employees or less, or anywhere in that ballpark. Each employee at this point is a liability, is a risk point. So definitely, I mean, you're right. You hit the nail on the head. I had a conversation with a customer recently, and they were talking about, something happened where their email got hacked, and we had to provide a whole bunch of documentation and get everything wrapped up around that. But they're a smaller company too, right? They're kind of off the radar. Nobody's really looking for them, and that makes them a prime target, right?
Absolutely.
I picture it almost like, I'm on the interstate and there's 15 people around me doing 20 above the speed limit. That cop's not going to catch me, but guess who gets the ticket? You know what I'm saying? So that's the kind of the way I try to explain it to people so they understand, like, oh, I'm not a risk. I'm too small. They're not looking for me. Yeah, you are. You're walking around with a big fat target on your back.
Yeah. Yeah, you're 100% right. And I mean, what are some of the things that we can do to protect, these small clients? But I will give you a quick example. So I would say about 2 years ago, we got a call from a company, right? We'll call them Company A. They got hit with ransomware. Small shop, maybe 15, 17 employees. They were 1 week they couldn't work for an entire week, right? They gave us a call. We were lucky enough to get in there and recover some of their data. It took us 2 days,
Wow.
and that's with a backup. They were lucky enough to have a pretty decent backup. The backup was also encrypted, it was held for ransomware as well, but 3 weeks of the backup, but luckily this was set to back up for 60 days. So we had some good information. We was able to restore, but they were down for a week.
Wow.
She came to me and she said, we almost closed our doors.
Wow.
That's
huge.
That's scary.
Yeah. I mean, that's like me saying, hey, Morel, can you close your doors for, 2 weeks and get zero income? I don't know any small business that can close their door for 2 weeks and sustain that.
Right.
So, that's
unsustainable.
Valid concern.
Yeah.
And, we're seeing a lot of push here in Georgia with, a lot of companies are being approached by their insurance provider to at least add some type of cyber policy. Are you guys seeing the same thing?
Yes, we are. We actually had 3 clients that reached out to us in the last 3 weeks, had us filling out some documentation for cyber insurance.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now,
and it's a long list, by the way.
Oh yeah. I've seen them too. It's like the recent one I saw was like 9 pages long.
Right. And it makes sure that, and it's an eye opener for these small clients, because for small, medium size, or businesses of all sizes, right? Because it puts things in perspective. So you can get cybersecurity insurance, but if you don't check off all the boxes, firewall, certain antivirus, certain anti-malware, et cetera, right? Different layers of protection, of course. If you don't check off all those boxes, you're a liability to them.
Right. You're not.
And there's a good possibility that they won't even insure you.
Right. That's true. We see a lot of that too. You know, a lot of customers will say, "Hey, can you fill out this insurance audit about our our cybersecurity on our IT side?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, we can fill it out, but we're going to tell the truth on it. We're not going to
Right.
dot in the i's or check any boxes that aren't true." You know?
Well, if you don't and there's a breach, guess who's liable?
Yeah, that's me. That's me. That's my neck on the
That's you
gauntlet.
guys, you know?
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, it's important, you know, to it's an eye opener, you know, at the very least when at the very least every small to medium sized business or every business in general should definitely get some, you know, cybersecurity insurance.
right.
You know,
No, I agree.
that alone will tell you what you need
Right. Right. Right.
to
Yeah.
stay at
If you
least
can check box
secure.
all those, then you're good. Right.
Right, right.
So let's wrap up and let's talk about what it looks like. What can small businesses do today to get started to secure their environment?
Well, what we do for some of our businesses is right. Well, we use a layer approach, right? So definitely every small business needs a firewall, right?
Agreed.
That's number one. And this is not saying that if you have a firewall, they can't get in. If they
Right.
want to get in, they're going to get in.
Right. It's just a
But
matter
you're
of
making it
slowing
more
them down.
difficult.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
making it much more difficult. So you definitely want a firewall. You want some type of email phishing, anti-phishing software because, like you said, the users, you know, employees are
The
number
weakest
one
link.
targets.
Yeah. They're the weakest
They
link.
are. So you definitely want some type of email anti-phishing. You know, obviously you want antivirus, you know, on desktops. You
Right.
know, I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can implement to a network to try to keep it secure. It also one thing is invest in, you know, employee training awareness.
Yeah, well, I was about to say we have it out there that we offer security awareness training for the employees and employers. And they can also test their employees, you know, through simulated tests as well.
Right.
So that's another added, you know, piece that we put on the pot that we feel like every employer should take advantage of. Because
Absolutely.
if your employees are the weakest endpoint, then if they're not being trained, if they're not taking the time to watch the, you know, 5-minute video or 10-minute video to educate themselves on what not to click on,
Right.
then that tells you what that employee's work ethic's like, in my opinion. But you know,
Yeah, because you can have all the layers of security, right? You can have the
right,
firewall, you can have the antivirus, but if that email comes in
right,
and
and
you
they
click on
click
the
the
wrong
link.
email or link, it
Yeah,
could be a bad day.
game over.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's good info.
I mean, it's hard to wrap my head around one click can ruin a business like that.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think we're on the same page. You know, definitely firewall, endpoint protection. We're looking at, you know, layering in SOC, Security Operations Center,
absolutely.
layering in network monitoring. We're also layering in now Office 365 tenant monitoring. So we can kind of monitor, you know, if there is an erroneous or some type of login in another country, we get alerted for that. They shut the account down with the SOC and all the things just locked down. It's like all the doors
Right.
just start slamming shut one after one after one after. And then we can kind of peel back the layers of that onion and determine, okay, here's where it came from. This is what we need to do and move forward from there. So I think
Right.
a layer approach, like you said, is good. So here's the question I always get. Morel, I can't afford to do everything. I can't drive the Lamborghini out of the gate. What do I need to do first? What's your answer to that?
So at the very least, I would say definitely implement a firewall.
Right.
For
I'm with you.
me, that's our first. That's our first step of defense, right?
Right.
A firewall and some type of antivirus.
Oh,
Right?
but Victor, I got 10 employees that work from home. How does that work? They're not protected. They're sitting behind their internet at their house. I can't do anything.
Well, there's definitely software out there for remote users.
Right.
Absolutely, where we can, you know, there's certain software that we implement and allows us to monitor not activity, but you know, monitor threats. And like
Right.
you said, we get alerts, right? It allows us to be proactive and troubleshoot it and resolve it before it becomes an issue.
Right.
Right. I mean,
Right.
that's the whole idea behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the kind of the concept I try to teach my clients too, is you look at, you know, cybersecurity insurance. Yeah, that's great. You should have it. I agree. You should 100% wholeheartedly have some type of cybersecurity insurance. The issue with that is that's a cleanup tool. That's a broom and a
Right.
dustpan, right?
Right.
If you keep the door shut, it won't get dusty inside. You know,
Right.
so as if you try to keep as many layers up in front of you, then that really stacks in the way, and you don't have to use that policy to clean up.
Right. So
And the
basically, you
cleanup
definitely
is
need,
always worse.
yeah, you definitely need the policy, right? Worst case scenario. Again, if they want to come in, they're going to
You're
come
getting
in,
in,
right? But we want to make it as difficult as possible for them, right?
right,
So they, you know, these hackers, they're sophisticated. This is a business, right?
right. It's a business for
So
them.
it's a business. So, you know, if they target, let's say, 1,000 companies in 1 hour, and you just happen to be one of those companies with no firewall, well, now you're easy bait.
Right.
And what people don't understand is you might already have some type of a virus on your network and you just don't know it yet.
Don't know about it. Exactly. It's just
It's
sitting waiting.
dormant.
Right.
Right. So there's definitely lots of softwares out there, and I'm sure they could take a look at your page for, you know, on your website, you have all that stuff listed. But, you know, there's softwares out there that detect what's just sitting out there,
Right.
you know? So, because sometimes the antivirus is not
It's not
enough.
enough. It's not enough.
It's not enough. Yeah.
I
You
mean, we
know,
started
so,
ripping and replacing, you know, our long-term solution for AV and started putting in endpoint. So it's got
yeah.
at least some AI-based training behind it to keep up with the threats, you know?
Yeah, antivirus is not enough. Antivirus alone is not enough, is what I was
Right.
trying to say earlier. It's just not. You know,
Right.
there's so much going on now, and you want to make sure too that whoever you're using, you know, whoever's watching this, whatever company or IT guy or whoever they're using, you want to make sure that they're completely 100% monitored, right? That they're proactive, that, you know, hey, you know, I think you have some type of document that you shared with me before, Morel, where you can send them, hey, make sure that your IT guy or your IT company is doing this,
Right.
you know, a checklist.
A
As far as
checklist
security is
right.
concerned, because security is our biggest threat right now.
It is. It really is. I mean, we can find hardware left and right. The issue
Right.
now is how do we keep people safe while they use it? And that's the
Right.
biggest concern that we have. How do we keep people safe while doing the work that you hired them to do?
And you know what? They might have hired you a year ago, but a year ago is
Completely
different.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My analogy on that is, you know, I've been around McDonald's all my life, man. That quarter pounder with cheese is not the same quarter pounder with cheese that they're serving today.
It's definitely not the same. You're right. So, and also when they, you know, for those of you that, you know, are using a specific IT company, they want to make sure also that that IT company, that their team members are completely trained, up to date, that they know what's going on. You know?
I agree with that totally. We have weekly trainings that go on here, and yeah, sometimes it sucks when we have 2 and 3 people out trying to train them up. It puts us behind, but I would rather be a few steps behind than trying to clean up some major catastrophe later.
Right.
So it's worth the time to train employees. I mean, that's eating your own dog food. You know, we're telling customers, hey, look, train your employees, do this, have this layer of protection, do that. We've got all that already. We have all of this in motion here at Ramtech. And I think part of that is just doing your due diligence as a business owner.
Right.
You know, your due diligence as a business owner is to keep your business running.
Right.
So that's all we do, man. We try to secure people. We educate them, and we try to make them understand it, because it's hard to wrap your head around some of that stuff. I mean, I learn something new every day.
Yeah, so do I. And I think the bigger thing also is everyone thinks we're just too small.
Right.
Until you get hit.
Right. And then it's too late.
Then it's too late. So you got to understand, you got to ask yourself, is it worth the risk?
Right. Right. I mean, it's
because you're probably, you know, you're probably going to have to close your shop.
Right.
You know, that's the bottom line. You know,
I
so
mean,
is it worth the risk?
So I recently bought a house and I had to get my insurance on my house, right? They want to make sure that I have fire alarm. They want to make sure I have a burglar alarm system. They want to make sure all of these boxes are checked before they will sign off and give you an insurance policy. Cybersecurity for your business is just the same way.
No difference.
No difference. I mean, yeah, you still need that policy like we both agreed on, but you need to have all these things in place before you can get the policy.
Right.
So
I know you wanted to wrap up, so I'm gonna make this last statement. So if you don't know if you're secure enough, you can do 2 things, right? If you're in Georgia, you know, you can call, they could call you. If they're in New York, New Jersey, they could give us a call, or they could also just apply for cyber insurance.
Right.
and
And
see
that'll
if
tell
they
them.
can check off every box.
Right. There's cybersecurity, there's cyber insurance policies out there right now that are pitching for people to come sign up. And you're right, they're going to send them that document and say, here, get with your IT guy to help you fill this out. And I can tell you right now, 90% of the people that don't have IT in this county or this area where we're located, they wouldn't know how to fill this document out.
Right.
So definitely, I agree with you. Find a professional, partner up with them, work through the cybersecurity measures to keep your business afloat. I mean, that's just it at the end of the day. Keep your
That's the
business
bottom
afloat
line.
by
Yeah.
working with a trusted professional in the area that knows their stuff.
Good info, Moreau.
Cool. Well, Victor, I appreciate you joining me, man. I know it was kind of impromptu, but we were already on the subject, and I figured this is great content. We need to go ahead and capture it. So
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it,
I'm
man.
glad you jumped in and was willing to do it, man. All right. Until next time, guys, I'm Morel McCray. I'm with Ramtech PC Solutions. Victor Megan in Jersey, New York, servicing every business. I think he has a fleet of dealerships he does support for, healthcare. He's in the whole arena that we're into down here in Georgia. We just do it in different areas. Give him a call, Network Brainiacs, Victor Megan. His team is awesome as well. Thank you again, Victor. We'll talk soon.
Thank you for having me, bud. Be safe.
Yeah, man, you too.
Bye.